So I would like to welcome you to the first lesson of this course right here. Now, again, this course elaborates on a topic that is truly cutting edge and super groundbreaking and can help pretty much every single business that involves human communication. And this is AI agents. Now, in this first introductory lesson of this course, we're going to be setting basic foundation around the topic again of AI agents. And I'm going to be discussing with you about what are AI agents and how they can be leveraged by any pretty much business that involves human communication. I'm super excited to have you here, and let's dive with analyzing what are AI agents, right? The rise of intelligent conversational automation, right? Because that's at the end of the day what we try to achieve with the implementation of AI voice agents, conversational automation, which is again not an easy task considering that conversation is something done, from one human person to another, and we want to automate this, right? And this is where AI comes into play. So AI has advanced, right, to the point where machines can now talk, listen, and understand us, right? So back in the day when only ChatGPT was around, it was a language model, but you can only type down stuff to interact with GPT. Now we have open-ended artificial intelligence that is available to us, and it can talk, listen again, and understand us. So what voice agents are is the next evolution of communication, right, in the space. It's software that can hold natural conversations, provide information, and even take action, right? So you can imagine how many stuff can be automated and tackled with the usage of this technology right here. So let's define what a voice agent again is. An AI voice agent is a computer-based system that's capable of interacting and speaking with humans through real-time voice interaction, right? So it's pretty much an AI that interacts with human beings on real time and can be prompted to automate tasks based on these interactions. So it combines, again, automatic speech recognition, natural language understanding, and text to speech technology to simulate a genuine two-way conversation. Because guess what? Even on genuine human interactions between two human beings, some answers and some data that you are going to be inputting in this interaction of yours, like we're not talking about AI here, right, are going to feel kind of robotic, right? Kind of not that continuous because you have been repeating yourself multiple times if you're elaborating on a topic that is super straightforward, right? So AI is here to replace these robotic, repetitive, again, interactions of yours. So unlike simple phone bots, these agents can adapt, learn from context, and personalize their responses based, again, on data they're capturing on real time from these interactions. So what is the purpose of AI agents? These agents, again, exist to automate those repetitive human conversations that we don't want to have in the first place simply because there's no creativity involved. And my theory, right, with AI is that AI will replace, like that's my personal theory after interacting with all of these different AI models, right, and adapting AI to my business. I genuinely believe that artificial intelligence will replace everything that is robotic and repetitive, right, on our human lives. And that's what us humans, we don't want to do. We don't want to do robotic, repetitive tasks. We want to tap in to our creative nature. And that's what AI allows us to do, right? Creative people can only do creative stuff nowadays because everything else that's robotic and repetitive to allow us to be creative right now can be outsourced to AI, right? And that's what AI voice agents do. So they enable businesses to communicate at scale, right, while keeping a human tone. Because guess what? What is robotic and repetitive and can be automated through AI can be also scaled, right? So by taking over, again, routine calls are again repetitive and again robotic, they free people to focus their creativity on complex or emotional interactions that require empathy and judgment, which are values that us human beings haven't, these AI agents simply don't, right? Because this is where you can really express your true human nature rather than trying to outsource, empathy to AI. It's not that easy, right? So let's talk about the mechanics behind a conversation of these AI agents before we break them down into next lessons of this course. So every single conversation follows four quick stages, right? Four quick stages around these AI agents. The first one is listening. Now, obviously, AI works by gathering data, analyzing the data that it has gathered, and then giving you the correct, again, output, right? And the input used to be prompts, right? Back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I mean like, a year ago, because AI is super new. Back in the day, it's pretty much a year ago if you understand how fast this space, has evolved. And back in the day, meaning a year ago, you need to understand how to correctly create prompts and engineer prompts to input the correct information so AI understands what you're saying. But nowadays, AI is so good at understanding that you don't even have, to give out the best inputs, right, for AI to receive information. That's why we're now able to have like normal conversations with AI, right? Because the processing power of artificial intelligence, right, has evolved, right? So the first step is listening. So speech again is converted through text through ASR software, so automatic speech recognition software. So I'm talking to the AI. AI transcribes what I'm saying to text through the ASR, right? Then this transcribed text, again, is analyzed, and this system, right, this natural language understanding system, or NLU, identifies the intent that you have and the context of this conversation. So this is the data processing, if you will, that you just gave to the AI, or a prospect gave to the AI, or whoever is interacting with this agent gave. So then comes the reasoning, right? An AI model determines what's the most relevant response to give to this prompt that has been analyzed, or action to be taken, because these AI agents can also take action, right? And finally, after listening, understanding, and reasoning has taken place, it is time for the AI to speak and give you data back. So this is where we have the so-called TTS, or text to speech technology. And this technology delivers a, again, natural sounding reply instantly. So if you think about it, what this whole system is structured on is a language AI model, right? What these agents do is that they analyze text and they create text based on the context that they understood out of this text. But this text that they analyzed has originated through this automatic speech recognition software. So we have sourced text through automatic speech recognition, and we have given out our output, right, by the TTS, so by text to speech technology. And again, these processes happen in milliseconds, so it's super genuine, right? They create a fluid human-like exchange. And isn't this exactly how us humans process information? First we listen, right? Some people don't listen, but first we listen, then we need to understand what we listened, then we add reasoning, we add our own layer of creativity, and then we speak back. That's how humans interact. And that's how AI also interacts. So you can see why it's so, again, valuable in today's market. So what can AI agents actually do? Where can we apply these AI agents? Now, if you have been like listening to this lesson right here, you might have so many ideas already on what these AI agents can do. So the first thing that they can obviously do is make and receive phone calls, like automatically. They can hold multi-turn conversations, adapting tone and wording depending on who they're talking to. Or they can qualify your leads, for example. If you give them a big lead list, they can go ahead and actually qualify these leads. They can schedule meetings or collect information from different people and sort this information, because again, we can add more actions to these AI agents, right? More automations, right? They can access databases that you give them and CRMs to update records on real time based on the information that they collect, and detect sentiment and adjust by phrasing. Again, and adjust their phrasing accordingly depending on who they're talking to, which is like kind of scary to be honest with you. They can also provide call summaries and analytics after each interaction, so you are in charge of what's happening, right? And how your leads are doing, how your clients are doing, how is like the quality of the information that you're gaining from these AI agents. So let's talk about some real world application here before we end with this lesson. These AI agents have already been used into multiple different fields like sales, customer support, healthcare, education, and we're going to be diving deeper in these different fields in just a second here in the next lessons of this course. But for example, in sales and marketing, these agents have been used in cold outreach, right? Reaching out to people who don't know you, lead nurturing, reaching out again to people who already know, like you, and you're just trying to nurture their trust, right? AI agents can be used into this, or follow-ups of people that have shown interest but have disappeared, right? It's super easy to follow up with these AI agents. Regarding customer support, if you have someone, asking questions, those frequently asked questions can be answered through AI. Or ticket triage, onboarding, this can be really super helpful because all of these, again, steps right here, for example, in healthcare, appointment reminders, right? Patient check-ins, cold outreach in sales and marketing, lead nurturing, follow-ups, all of these processes, right, are applied based on a framework, on a mental framework that we follow as human beings, right? And it's super, let's say, scripted what we're going to be doing, regardless of who we're talking to. If we're performing cold outreach, we're following a specific mental framework, right? And this mental framework can be noted down, distributed to AI, and just created and applied in bulk, right? It can be scaled, right? Because there's no creativity involved into these tasks right here. There's no creativity on patient check-ins. You're just literally following a list. There's no creativity on appointment reminders. You're literally just following a guide, right? In e-commerce, for example, order confirmations, right? Delivery updates, feedback calls. There's no creativity involved there, which means that you can really like outsource this to AI agents, and virtually any process that depends on the voice communication can be 100% automated by using these AI agents. So why do companies adopt these agents? The first reason why like companies adopt these agents, and they have been adopting these agents, right, for multiple years now. They weren't AI agents, but companies have been adopting, again, agents, voice agents on their phones, for example. You can recall sometimes when you're calling a bank, right, or when you're calling, a service. Usually, an automated voicemail comes into place, but now this has AI. So first of all, these agents have 24/7 availability, right? There's no downtime, there's no holidays, there's no like crazy payments, there's no kids, no pregnancy leaves, right? They just leave, they just work forever. It's super easy to scale with these agents, so they can literally handle hundreds of calls simultaneously, which is something that if you wanted to do back in the day, you needed huge manpower, right? They have consistent tone, consistent messaging. Their tone doesn't change based on how much they slept last night, right? They of course have lower operational costs compared to human agents. This makes total sense. Their cost is like substantially. It's crazy how cheap these agents are, right? You instantly document again through automatic transcriptions and summaries what's happening in these calls. So it's super easy for the admins, right? People who use these agents to document what's happening, right? And be able to tweak some stuff based on the results that you're getting. And they deliver data-driven insights to customer behaviors and needs, which would be something not that easy to do if you were a human being, or at least if you wanted like your human agents to do that, it would be way, way more expensive. So it's good for us to note at this part of this lesson right here, this final part of this lesson, that these agents are here to augment humans, not replace humans. And I think that I made it pretty clear in this first lesson of this course that these AI voice agents are here to replace robotic repetitive tasks, right? Not genuine human creativity. If you're genuinely a creative person, and by the way, you don't need like to be a creative director or a creative entrepreneur, right? To be a creative person, all of us human beings have, creativity built in to our software, if you will. So you are a creative dude, you're a creative person or a creative lady, right? You do not need to worry about these agents replacing you. AI agents complement human teams rather than eliminate them, right? Yes, they can handle high volume, repetitive tasks, but people manage complex and emotional situations. And whenever creativity is involved regarding placement of these agents, distribution of these agents, analysis of the data, human beings are super, super involved there. And again, this hybrid model combines AI efficiency with human empathy, resulting in better customer experiences and improved productivity. That's the goal of us. And this is what I'm going to show you how to do in this course right here. So, what is the future of voice communication? Well, here's the thing. We can't really speculate when the future will come, and we can't really speculate when this next generation of voice agents will be here. But at the rate at which artificial intelligence is improving and evolving like on a daily basis until this point, this isn't that far away from now. So AI agents will become more realistic and emotionally aware at some point. They will literally have persistent memory, so they will never forget, right? And they will also have context across conversations, right? So they will have a huge data set of context, which is like super powerful if you're communicating with multiple people. There will be an integration with multinodal AI, for example, video, text, data in these AI agents, which will make them again more powerful. At some point, there will be a real-time language translation available, which just will expand your reach into multiple regions, multiple jurisdictions, right? Of course, there will be continuous learning for each interaction, and this already exists. And voice communication is like steadily shifting from this scripted automation to a fully intelligent conversation taking into place, right? The goal of these AI agents and what you can actually achieve right now with this course right here is to implement these AI voice agents to be better than a human being, if it makes sense, right? Because they don't make mistakes and they have endless context, right? So these are the key takeaways of this first lesson right here. The first one is that AI agents can, again, simulate human conversation through listening, understanding, and speaking. They automate communication at scale without losing personalization, which is super important if, for example, you want to nurture leads or to attract more people or to close deals, right? They are powered by ASR, NLU, LLMs, and TTS technologies, which we're going to be analyzing in the next lesson of this course, like in depth. And they're used across multiple industries for sales, support, and customer engagement. We talked about e-commerce, business, healthcare, hospitality, and we are going to be talking about these, again, different industries that use AI voice agents in just some minutes in the next lessons. And again, they represent the future of business communication. They're super fast, super scalable, and human sounding, which is crazy to think about. It's crazy that I'm creating this course right here, right? And after again analyzing these AI agents for multiple weeks, engaging with them, I can tell you that this course will completely blow your mind, right? So coming up in the next lesson, we're going to be talking about this technology behind voice agents, right? The ASR, the NLU, the LLMs, the TTS technologies. Those are concepts that you need to understand if you want, right, to apply these agents correctly to your business and to your daily life. Right, so I'm super excited to have you here. See you in the second lesson of this course. So in the first lesson of this course, we discussed about what AI agents are, how do they operate, and all of the different applications that they have, right? And they can have in every single potential business that involves robotic, repetitive, human conversational interactions. Now, in this second lesson right here, we're going to be discussing about the technology behind these AI agents. How do these agents actually operate and how can we gain value out of these AI agents? It's super important for you to understand how these agents operate to be able to position them in the correct departments of your business, right, to gain the optimal outcome from these agents. And that's exactly what we're analyzing in this lesson right here. So enough with this introduction. Let's dive into this presentation of, again, the technology behind AI voice agents, right? We're going to be talking about how these machines listen, how they think, and how they're able to speak, again, like human beings. And we had a small snippet, if you will, of this technology in the previous lesson of this course, right? Behind every AI voice agent, there is a combination of powerful technologies, right, that allow it to understand language, interpret meaning, so contextualize the information that it receives, and communicate naturally. At the end of the day, if we break things down, you will see that these AI voice agents take voice and transcribe voice into text. They analyze this text. They add context based of all of the data sets that they have around the topic to this text. They generate replies and then they give out these replies as, again, voice, right? But all of these tasks are done in milliseconds. So it literally feels like a genuine human interaction. So let's actually go ahead and break down these systems right here. These are the four components of voice artificial intelligence: ASR, NLU, LLM, and TTS. So what is ASR? ASR is automatic speech recognition. And what this does is that it pretty much, again, recognizes voice and converts this voice into text, because these again voice agents are built in the back end of like language processing models and text processing models. So we need to convert human voice when someone is interacting with our agents into text. Then the natural language understanding system comes into place and extracts again the intent and the context from the text that these agents have converted from voice, right? After the NLU has done its job, it's time for the large language model to again come into play. And this large language model, which is this data set of information, generates intelligent human like replies, which will then be converted into speech with the TTS, right? The text to speech feature. And this turns again the AI's words, right, text back into realistic voice output. Now, as you can imagine, there are different levels of ASR, different levels of NLU, different levels of LLM and TTS, right, with different bandwidths and different capabilities. And depending on the quality of these four components, we have different types of AI voice agents and better voice agents or worse voice agents. But these, again, four pillars work together in real time to power every single conversation that you have with these agents or these agents have with other people, right? These four components, in order to work, they require power, they require energy, but if you have enough power and enough energy, you can scale these agents to operate again through these systems to multiple people, right? Which is something that you can do with human power. You can exactly scale human power like that, right? So let's actually dive and analyze each and every single one of these four elements, right? The ASR, the NLU, the LLM, and TS. Let's start with ASR, right? Which stands for, again, automatic speech recognition. ASR systems, as we discussed about, capture audio and convert spoken words into accurate text. It's super straightforward. When I'm interacting with a voice agent or when a potential client, a potential lead, a potential patient, depending on like the business and the industry that these agents operate on, speak, right? They give information to the agent and these words are converted into accurate text. And these modern ASR engines use deep learning models that have been trained on millions of audio samples. This way, when, for example, I have, let's say, a small accent, right, when I'm talking, or I make a small, let's say, grammatic mistake, right, then these ASR engines understand it and correct it while giving this prompt back to our AI. So they handle, again, accents, they handle background noise, and various speaking speeds with remarkable, again, precision, which is super, super important when we're prompting these AI agents. Because imagine that these AI agents are prompted by normal human people, right? Then there's background noise, there are accents, right? There's like various speaking speeds, and these agents need to be able to understand, right, and break through these barriers. So the better the ASR, the smoother and faster this entire conversation between the agents and us feels, right? So then after we've converted, again, speech into text, it is time for the natural language understanding to put into place. So NLU, again, interprets the transcribed text to understand what the user truly wants. So now we have the text, we pretty much need to understand like the context of this text right here. So it detects intent. For example, book an appointment, or the name, the title, the location. It gathers data, it extracts the data, it extracts intent out of the text that we have, again, gathered through automatic speech recognition. And again, it also understands context from prior messages. So by analyzing the sentence structure and tone, it ensures that the AI responds logically and appropriately to the prompt or to the information that each person has given to the AI. So now it is time for the LLM, the large language model, to put into place. And the LLM is pretty much like how this whole system operates, right? Because this was just data, right? Conversion from, again, speech to text. This was data processing, if you will, or at least data extraction. And now it is time to, again, process it with the brain of the system. So LLM pretty much decides how to respond based on the recognized intent and conversation history. right? So again, we gathered data, we gathered intent, we gathered, again, more information, and now it is time to process it and see how we will respond, right? So modern models like GPT-4 or proprietary fine-tuned LLMs can reason, summarize, and adapt tone dynamically. That's why we use AI. That's why, again, we like AI, and there is huge application of AI in these voice agents. This is where a simple voice agent becomes an AI voice agent due to the fact that there is an LLM involved, and it can reason, it can summarize, and it can adapt tone, again, dynamically. So this component gives, again, the agent its conversational intelligence and creativity that, again, is like the most important thing out of this whole framework. So finally, now we have the context and we have intelligence and there is reason and the agent knows exactly what it's ready to output. It is time to convert this answer of this agent to speech. So this is where the TTS comes into place, and the TTS converts the generated text into a lifelike voice, right? So pretty much, again, takes the text that has in its mind, if you will, from the LLM, and it just translates it and transcribes it into voice. So neural TTS engines model human rhythm, pitch, emotion, right, while producing voices that sound natural and not robotic, which is a huge plus compared to previous generation of agents. So again, many systems offer multiple voices, multiple languages, and emotional styles to match brand identity or use case. And as technology evolves, you can see that the TTS softwares will get only better and better. The LLM will get better and better. The NLU will get better and better. And of course, the ASR will get better and faster. And we're not talking about just better, meaning, more beautiful or better context. We're talking about faster too. Because when, a human is interacting with another human being, you see that this whole processing, right, just it's so fast because it's done in the neural network of your brain, which has all of these features, if you will, integrate it. So now we're trying to replicate these features, these neural features of the human brain with artificial intelligence. You will see that, of course, there's a lagging indicator between these two. But in the future, I'm pretty sure that, it's going to be almost impossible to figure out if you're talking to an AI or not. So let's talk about some supportive technologies that are into place, right, to aid and facilitate the usage of voice agents. The first one is the SSML, or the speech synthesis markup language. And what this SSML pretty does is that it fine-tunes pauses and emphasis, right? So this comes in the TTS part of things, right? It's just good for you to know that there's that, right? Or dialogue management, for example. Dialogue management tools track, again, the conversation flow and context across turns. So it sees, how do you respond with this AI? It sees your pauses, right? And makes the whole dialogue just feel more genuine. Or sentiment analysis features, right? They detect user mood and adjust the tone based on the mood. These are like super cool and high-tech features that we didn't have like a year or 2 years ago. Let's say knowledge bases, right? And APIs, they allow real-time data lookup and task execution on real time as you're having this conversation with the AI. So together, again, all of these supportive technologies ensure that each dialogue feels natural and super like context aware. Now, this is how pretty much like voice agents operate. Let's now talk about how these voice agents can also learn over time. So as they're evolving, they're also learning. And again, these voice agents can improve through exposure to more conversations. The more context AI has, the better it becomes. So machine learning models analyze transcripts to reduce errors and enhance response accuracy. Those feedback loops that they're always generated by these agents always working enable adaptation to specific industries, languages, and customer patterns. And this makes like super and total sense, because if you're using these agents, let's say only in the industry of healthcare, these agents will have huge exposure on how to interact with patients, and patients have different ways of communicating, right? Of communication, especially verbally, than normal people. These agents, for example, that have been trained on a huge data set on how to interact with patients will understand emotion better than other agents. So it's super, again, important to have these feedback loops into place, and you don't need to do anything to have these feedback loops. I'm just saying that, these feedback loops exist, and your agents will get better and better if they're working on the same task, right? So continuous training is what reforms a generic agent into a specialized expert. And this is exactly what happens also and human beings, right? Training and spending time and energy into, again, sub-niching into a specific set of tasks will make you better at this specific set of tasks compared to someone who hasn't sub-niched, right? So let's talk about the tech stack behind the scenes. These modern agents run on cloud-based architecture. This means that you don't need any hardware, right? You don't need any hardware to deliver this speed and reliability that these agents has. All of this architecture that they're leveraging is up there. It's on the cloud, and you can use it with just your phone, or okay, not a phone, probably like a computer, and maybe actually even your phone and simple computer access. Like that's it. All of the data that they're using is up there in the cloud. So they rely on APIs, secure data sets, and real-time processing pipelines, right? So again, Edge AI and low latency servers allow responses in less than, again, half a second, which is super fast, creating this seamless human-like interaction in these conversations, right? And I want you to imagine this first image of a first computer that came out, which was a whole room filled with, data and storage and whatnot, right? And now you can access like the same groundbreaking type of technologies, right? Because again, like the first computer was as groundbreaking as access to artificial intelligence that we have right now. You can access it through the cloud, right? Just by having access to a computer, which is absolutely awesome. So again, this security layers protect voice data through encryption and compliance protocols. So what are the key takeaways of this lesson right here? The first key takeaway is that these, again, agents operate through a chain of advanced systems. We talked about these systems. On top of these systems, there are some supportive tools like dialogue management, for example, sentiment analysis, and these APIs refine the whole experience to make it as seamless as possible. It's super important to make the experience as seamless as possible when we're talking about AI with human interaction. It's super important. So machine learning enables continuous improvement over time. These agents will be trained and will be refined because there are feedback loops that help them understand context and memorize context and become better and better every time that they engage with the same type of human being. This cloud infrastructure and real-time processing make instant, natural communication possible, and understanding all of these technologies help you just design better, smarter voice interactions that will help you scale your business like organically with these voice agents. Now, I'm super excited that you made it up till this point of this course. And in the next lesson, right, we're diving a bit deeper and we're analyzing the evolution of, again, voice AI and comparing what we had, right, with, again, regarding voice agents with Siri back in the day to these modern GPT powered agents, right? And you will see the true power of LLMs, right? So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to see you in the next lesson of this course. So in the previous lesson of this course, we focused on analyzing the back end of these AI voice agents, right? How these AI voice agents operate. And what was clearly established is that what really makes these AI agents special is the LLM, the large language model, right, that is operating in the backend again, which enables the data to be processed with these AI features and given back to us, right, with context. Now, the biggest difference between traditional voice agents like Siri, right, Alexa, and those types of agents with AI voice agents is this LLM right here. And in this lesson right here, we're going to be discussing about the evolution of voice AI. Where did it start from and how did we end up in this awesome place that we are right now? Right? So thank you so much for being here. Let's analyze this evolution of AI, how we went from simple commands to intelligent conversation. And here's the thing, a voice AI, of course, has dramatically, right, advanced over the last 2 decades. Pretty much a literally day-night difference. What began as command-based assistants like Siri, Alexa, without artificial intelligence integration inside of them, is now capable of free-flowing human-like dialogue, right? So in this lesson, again, we're exploring these milestones that shaped this transformation of command-based assistant to, again, human-like genuine dialogue. And this first command era started in 2014 with the introduction of Siri, let's say, and these first these first voice agents, and ended in 2018. So again, we had Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, Cortana, all of these assistants entered the scene, and these voice commands triggered specific actions. For example, hey Siri, play music, or set a timer, right? Cloud computing, because these, again, voice assistant, these primitive voice assistants, and by the way, it's so funny to call primitive something that was made in 2014 to 2018, right? But these first primitive, let's say, voice assistant, right, again, were based on cloud computing, and this improved speed and accuracy. But despite their popularity, assistants remained rule-based and reactive, right? Not conversational. And if you think about it, Siri, for example, is reactive, is not conversational. Alexa, it's reactive, it's not conversational. You cannot have a conversation with them, right? You cannot prompt them. They cannot analyze information correctly, right? They can do this on a very superficial level, but they don't have deep understanding or learning capabilities, right? And machine learning completely transforms AI, right? This LLM adaptation and LLM prompt processing completely transforms AI. The shift from keyword systems to machine learning models marked a turning point in this whole game, right? Neural networks learned accent, right? Context and emotion from massive data sets, right? And these data sets become bigger every single day, right? For the first time, voice systems began to understand meaning instead of just memorizing phrases and being able to recall, like, oh, yeah, this is a phrase that I have been coded to understand, so now I'm reacting to it, right? They can memorize, right? They can understand context. And this was, again, the foundation of today's conversational agents that we now are able to leverage. And again, it's insane, right? So conversational AI emerged this way. Between 2018 and 2020, there were huge advances in natural language processing, right? Which just brought more flexible dialogue to the scene. Systems then, right, they could handle multi-turn conversations, they can ask clarifying questions, and remember short-term context. Again, this was the primitive era of AI. AI was just introduced in the world. Of course, the processing power of these LLMs wasn't that high, but still these natural language processing, again, applications were available. So industries started exploring practical use cases from call centers, let's say, to sales support, right? And then came the GPT evolution, right? And large language models started interacting with natural language processing models, right? So again, LLMs just completely changed everything. The arrival of GPT-3 and GPT-4 ushered a new era, right, of voice AI. Those large language models, as we talked about, they understand nuance, they understand emotion, they understand reasoning, right? And they can give this feedback back to us, right? They enable voice agents to generate context-aware answers, not just recite some scripts that they have been coded once to recite, right? These, again, LLMs have access to huge data sets of information, and they are aware to understand genuine human emotion. So voice AI became creative, adaptive, and surprisingly human. So now this led to the rise of modern voice agents. And these modern voice agents blend LLMs with real-time speech and, again, neural text-to-speech software. So now we have the processing power of LLMs, of GPT-3, GPT-4, and we can, again, give this information back to human beings with a text-to-speech software. They can listen, they can analyze intent, they can speak with emotion in literally under seconds, which is huge, and this gets faster every single day. So again, tools like Voice Genie, for example, which we will be using in this course right here, bring this power to business applications, right? We're talking about sales, calls, customer service, lead qualification. Everything is completely, fully automated with these agents right here, which leverage LLMs and TTS and all of these different, again, pillars that we talked about in the previous lesson of this course. So this is the shift in intelligence that we talked about, right? Earlier systems waited for commands. They were coded once to understand certain commands, and they waited for these commands in order to operate. If you can recall, if you want to, let's say, engage Siri or engage Alexa, you need to say a certain keyword that I'm not going to say right now because I'm recording on a MacBook and Siri will pop up. But these new voice agents can initiate contact, right? They can ask questions and take autonomous decisions, which is huge. They combine predictive AI with CRM data to reach out proactively for follow-ups, reminders, and sales outreach, right? And this is again just the beginning of AI sales reps, for example, as a new workforce layer and all of these different adaptations of, again, AI agents on your business. So, what defines voice AI in 2025? First of all, in 2026 and 2027, first of all, ultra realistic voices generated by neural TTS engines, real time emotion detection, and sentiment response, which gives this human layer, if you will, to the AI voice agent, integration with CRM and marketing automations so you can automate more tasks rather than just data collection, right? Multilingual support and instant translation is a feature currently available that will be evolving, right, as years pass. And again, voice memory that retains context across sessions. Those are the 5 key characteristics of voice AI in current times, and in future times, those are what sold us, if you will, in voice agents, and that's what we're going to be leveraging in this course right here, right? When in the next module we're going to be applying these agents to our business. So the key takeaways of this lesson right here is, first of all, that voice AI evolved from, again, basic command systems that were coded once, were given data once, right, to intelligent two-way conversations, right, that only get better and better and better. Machine learning and LLMs enabled understanding, context, and creativity, which is huge, right? The application of LLMs in these voice agents, the fact that we can use GPT-3 and GPT-4 to understand context and give out better results. And today's agents, the agents that we currently have broadly available, can think, reason, and speak like genuine human beings in real time, right? So the technology is now mature enough for practical businesses and also cheap enough for, again, to be distributed broadly across the whole world for small businesses to mid businesses, right, to large businesses to leverage. And Voice Genie, again, is one of the leading platforms bring these agents into life. And we're going to be, again, using in this, again, course right here. So this concludes this comparative lesson right here. Now it's time to actually dive deeper in the utility of these AI agents and analyze the different industries that we can leverage them. This will be the final lesson of this module, and I'm super, super happy that you made it up until this point. Let's move to the next lesson. So in the previous installment of this course, we talked about the evolution of AI voice agents, right? How voice agents pretty much started like without having in the back end the LLM playing, right, and inputting all of this information and data processing from GPT-3 and GPT-4. They started by only being hard-coded to follow commands, and then they evolved into these beautiful AI agents that we're going to be leveraging, and again, in this course right here. Now, at the end of the lesson, we also talked about the utilization of these AI agents across various industries, and that's exactly what we're going to be elaborating on in this video right here, in this lesson right here. In this lesson, I'm going to show you exactly all of the different applications of AI agents on all of the different industries that you can imagine, right? And I want you to follow along, because by understanding how different industries can take advantage of these AI agents, you will just unlock new ways to think, right, around on how to utilize these agents yourself, right? So enough of this introduction, let's talk about the use cases of AI voice agents across different industries. So again, these agents have been transforming the way business operate, right, on simply every major sector, because all of those different sectors of pretty much any business involve human interactions, right? And human interactions can be automated at some point with these voice agents. So you can pretty much, like, from automating sales calls to providing 24/7 customer support, they literally handle, again, thousands of conversations simultaneously at scale while maintaining a human-like tone, which is a huge competitive advantage over businesses who don't leverage these agents. So let's talk about how these agents can, first of all, work on sales and lead generation. This will be the most common use case of these agents. And of course, sales and lead generation applies very much like in every single business out there. So voice agents can handle the full spectrum of sales outreach. And by the way, you understanding how to use these AI agents, right? AI voice agents, and apply them into any sales and any lead generation mechanism out there, regardless of the industry, is a skill that you can leverage to sell to other businesses, right? So pretty much AI agents can handle the full spectrum of sales outreach. They can make cold calls, like which means calls to people who don't know about you, right? And introduce automatically products, which again back in the day would be done by human beings, which is like not that productive, right? They can qualify leads based on preset criteria that we can set to these agents, right? Super important. They can qualify leads so you know exactly if these leads are qualified, if they are warm, if they want to buy, or if they don't have, let's say, if they don't check the boxes that you want to have them qualified. They can schedule appointments and follow-ups not only in pre-qualified leads but on current clients of businesses, and they can also handle objections with, again, enrolled warm leads to human reps, right? So this is an awesome, a new way, for example, to use these agents, not to close the sales with these agents. These agents wouldn't be here to close $10,000 sales, $20,000 sales, but they would understand, right? Let's say objections, and then forward these people to human reps. So again, they create scalable, always on sales teams that never need breaks or any shifts. And these agents can also be applied in customer support and service. This is just another huge field of any business, pretty much, that you can also apply these agents. So again, in customer support, AI voice agents resolve repetitive issues without the need of human intervention. And isn't this exactly what customer support people, right, are doing right now? They have a framework, they have an algorithm in mind, they know the exact process on how to solve problems, and usually what happens is that the exact same problems keep coming again and again and again and again, and these people happen to repeat themselves, right? So they perform, again, robotic repetitive tasks, which are exactly the tasks that we can now outsource to AI agents. Again, you can answer frequently asked questions instantly, right? Without any delay, without showing any signs, right, of misinformation, right? They can process returns or provide order updates immediately. They can gather feedback after, again, service interactions and transfer, again, those complex cases which potentially might need genuine human interaction to human agents, right, with full context. So by having like a full breakdown on what this customer wants, what is, let's say, the point that this customer wants to deliver, why this AI agent cannot do this, right? They can give a full breakdown of context to human agents. So again, this dramatically reduces wait times and boosts satisfaction, again, across all industries. So again, sales and lead gen, customer support and service can be applied into multiple different industries, right? An example of an industry that could leverage AI agents massively, right, to, again, decompress the system itself is healthcare and wellness, right? So voice AI is, again, increasingly used in healthcare for routine communication. You can imagine what happens in healthcare systems, right? All of these people, they're frustrated, they're in pain, right? They want to see their relatives or they want to get a checkup themselves. And there's a huge, let's say, bottleneck, right? By having human people try to tell everyone where to go and what to do. So you can schedule or confirm appointments, again, with AI agents here. You can remind patients to take medication or attend checkups automatically with agents. You can conduct post-visit follow-ups and schedule those post-visit follow-ups with agents. You can answer general questions, again, securely and consistently. And again, if you run a clinic, for example, this can help clinics reduce administrative workload while maintaining patient engagement. And I want you to focus here for a moment and just think of yourself running a clinic. Imagine being a doctor and now suddenly, right, all of this complex system of follow-ups and appointments and rescheduling and reminding patients to take their medications and the checkups and everything being completely outsourced to a system that is simply flawless. How better would you be able to do your job and only your job? Focus on only the skills, that you want to practice, right? And it would be awesome, and it's possible. Educational need learning is another space which can heavily leverage AI agents and has been heavily leveraging AI agents, especially in the new rise of e-learning. See, in education, AI agents create more accessible and personalized learning environments. Personalized learning is, you know, on the rise right now. Every single e-learning platform, every single e-learning software out there tries to make the, again, learning experience as personalized as possible. So for example, you can onboard new students and explain course structures in a more effortless way using these AI agents. You can answer, again, enrollment or payment related queries, which are, super like streamlined. You know exactly what to answer. You just don't have to invest your time and energy into every single one of your students. You can provide learning reminders, motivational checkups. You can support teachers with attendance or test updates. And again, they can also act as visual assistants with academic systems, AI agents themselves, right? Because the ability, again, to understand your speech and transcode it into text and analyze this text, give feedback to this text and context to this text, and then give, again, personalized answers back is a huge part of the teaching experience itself, right? Real estate, property management, pretty much like there's not a single field or niche out there in business where humans right now are not performing robotic repetitive tasks, right? And all of these, again, robotic repetitive tasks can be outsourced to AI agents. So in real estate, for example, these agents automate communication between clients and property managements. They can call prospects about new listings immediately. Imagine this, right? Imagine being a real estate agent and you're now, every single time that there's a new listing, you can call all of these people. They collect availability or schedule viewings. So you just need to attend the viewing yourself, right? Everything else in the back end is scheduled by these agents. They can send reminders for rent or maintenance appointments. They can follow up with interested buyers automatically. And again, this just makes the whole thing smoother, right? Hospitality, traveling, hotels and travel agencies, they use AI agents to handle large volumes of bookings and guest interactions. And now with the rise of AI agents, as they become better and better and better, this will just start, to be more automated, right? And scaled. So the AI agents can confirm reservation and process cancellations, right? Without making a single mistake. They can suggest upgrades, right? Or promotions dynamically based on exactly what each customer needs. They provide 24/7 support in multiple languages, right? Which is a huge plus, especially in the hospitality sector and the travel sector, where you have to deal with all of these people that speak all of these different languages. You don't need to have like expensive personnel who, just because like these people know like 4 languages, they cost 3 times more than an average employee, right? Now this can be done by AI. And guess what? Like if a problem occurs and if there's a problem that, needs like genuine creativity and genuine thought, these AI agents can forward it to genuine people who can solve this problem. So they're not here to replace, right? They're here to aid, right? They can collect post-stay reviews and feedback and automatically post them, for example. Again, this just creates a seamless experience where hotels can do what they do best, which is accommodate people rather than trying to connect the dots and build a whole system from the beginning. Banking and finance is another field which is hugely impacted by AI agents. These agents can balance inquiries and transaction confirmations, and this is already done in fintech, right? So whenever you place, let's say, a statement in your bank or you want to purchase stocks, right? This is already processed by tech in the backend, but this can also now be done by AI agents. Fraud alerts, right? Identity verification, right? Of course, this can also be done by AI agents, right? Loan eligibility and application updates can also be filtered and analyzed by agents, or customer service, feedback collection. Again, this voice automation process improves response time and maintains compliance standards even in banking. Now, of course, if we're talking about like, security issues and accessing your bank accounts, you wouldn't have an AI agent, help you with that. But the back end of fintech is heavily inspired and aided by the usage of AI agents. Of course, like e-commerce and retail, we don't even need, I think, to elaborate on these points on how much AI agents can help in e-commerce, which is already something that needs to be scaled to be profitable in retail itself. So again, e-commerce platforms use AI agents to manage customer journeys at scale. This is something that is done at scale, especially in all of these new e-commerce stores that pop up every single day, every single week. E-commerce people that work in e-commerce want to test multiple websites and they want to scale with these websites, and AI agents are extremely useful in this case. So they can confirm orders, shipping details, they can recommend, right, complementary products depending, again, based exactly on the persona and the avatar of the buyer. They can handle refund or exchange requests in bulk, and they collect post purchase reviews, which they can also post. I'm going to show you how in the next module of this course, right? So again, AI-driven voice interaction increases sales and strengthens customer loyalty, right? So in this lesson, again, we pretty much talked about the proven effective, of AI agents across all of these different industries, how effective these agents are in sales, support, healthcare, education, real estate, finance, right? And these were just some industries that I mentioned for the sake of this that's right here, just to broaden your horizons, right? And open your minds on what these agents can do. So again, they automate repetitive interactions, they personalize communications, and they literally operate 24/7, right? 25/8. So by interacting, right, integrating with existing systems, these agents enhance both customer experience and business efficiency, and they just pretty much set the new bar. They create a new standard in the modern era. Now that we're done with analyzing the different applications of these AI agents across different industries, I think that you're starting to have a circular understanding of the real power of these agents. And if I were you, I would be super eager to start checking out the software in which we're going to be, using to leverage these AI agents, which is super cool and very cheap considering what you're getting, right? Before we do that, let's move with the final lesson of this module right here, which are ethical and privacy considerations when using like voice AI and AI agents. It's super important for you to understand this so you don't stumble across any roadblocks or any bottlenecks, in the future when you're doing this at scale, right? So this will be the final lesson of module 1. Thanks so much for being here. I'm going to see you there. So welcome to the final lesson of the first module of this course around AI agents. Now, this first introductory module couldn't be concluded after a short lesson around the ethical and privacy consideration of AI agents, right? These AI agents will be communicate with real, genuine human beings. And whenever we're interfering with real, genuine human emotion, connection, and outsourcing of this human interaction to AI agents, we definitely need to be aware of both ethical and privacy considerations, especially if you are adapting these AI agents to your company, right? To your business. So let's close this chapter right here with this small note, and then we can move into the cooler, again, modules, which are going to be more practical and more tactical, right? So again, as voice agents become more human-like, questions around ethics, transparency, and data protection grow increasingly important, right? This is a problem that has risen due to the fact that these agents are more human-like every single week that AI evolves, right? That large language models become better and better at data processing and understanding context, right? So this lesson right here explores how to use voice technology reasonably and maintain user trust. So let's talk about the importance of ethics in AI. Of course, we all know that ethics define the boundaries of responsible innovation, right? AI is, partnered with huge innovation. That being said, you want this innovation to be responsible. So AI voice systems influence real people, right? And often in also sensitive contexts, they can influence buying decisions, and buying decisions, spending money can really have an impact on a person's, life. So designing ethically ensures fairness, accountability, and respect for human autonomy. Unethical implementation can damage brand reputation and also genuinely create some legal risks apart from, of course, ethical risks. It's not only unethical to, apply and design these AI agents in a harmful way, but it can also lead to legal trouble, right? So let's talk about data privacy, right? And consent. Every single AI voice agent processes personal information through speech. This is well established up until this point of this course. To comply with privacy laws and not get you into any legal trouble and maintain trust, you should always disclose that users are speaking with an AI system. This is super important, right? You don't want to risk with this. You need to obtain explicit consent for call recording or data storage. You might recall, whenever you're talking to a voice agent, doesn't need to be an AI voice agent, right? You need to obtain explicit consent if you're recording, again, information, or if you're storing data. You should follow GDPR or local data protection regulations, and of course, allow users to request data deletion at any time. Yes, we're processing information. Yes, we're gathering information, and this information is super valuable to our businesses, but we need to be upfront with this, right? This needs to be a transparent process in order for you to practice this awesome systems, right? Without having any fears and any legal, again, implications. So regarding transparency and disclosure, again, it's super, super important that if you're taking one thing from this lesson right here, is that you need to be transparent with this, right? So people deserve to know when they're talking to a machine, right? That's just basic human rights. Because in the future, when everything is AI and we have AI agents doing everything, like it's super important to know that you're talking to a human being or a machine, and for people to also adapt accordingly. So transparency builds credibility, and it also prevents manipulation. So AI agents need to clearly identify themselves at the start of an interaction and state the purpose of the conversation. Now, you might be thinking that this might be a turnoff right now for someone, to be like, oh my God, I'm talking to an AI agent. But I can guarantee you that in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, I don't know the rate of, again, innovation in this AI space. People will want to talk to AI agents, right? It will be a turnoff in some years to talk to a normal human being, just because these AI agents will become better and better and better and flawless, right? So again, hidden information erodes public confidence in AI technology, and you don't want to be that guy, right? So let's talk about data security and storage now. Voice data must be protected like any other sensitive information, right? This is done, I'm going to show you how, like in the next module, but you should be using encryption during, again, transmission and storage of voice data. And this really depends on the voice agent software that you're using. You should store recordings on secure, compliant servers, limit internal access, and anonymize where possible, right? So you don't have data leaks. And you should also implement regular audits and penetration tests. Finally, responsible storage safeguards both users and companies for breaches. You do not want to have data breach, because this is something that will harm your business in the long run and might also cause legal implications. So it's super, super important for you to use an AI agent software service, right, that checks all of these boxes. Regarding bias and fairness, right, AI systems can unintentionally reflect bias, right? It really depends on how you have trained these AI agents. And this can lead to, again, unfair or discriminatory outcomes. So it's super important for you to make sure as a developer to train your AI agents correctly. You should diversify their training data sets. You should test responses across, again, accents, genders, and languages. And you should continuously monitor these agents for biased outputs, right? This is a continuous thing. And guess what? Like once you implement, the development of these agents, once you have developed these agents and you have positioned them correctly across your business, this is a relatively automated process. Like you won't need to be doing so much work as these agents are working. The only thing that you should be doing is, again, testing, monitoring, changing. So again, fair AI systems respect all users equally. So now let's talk about human oversight and what is your involvement into this? Because if you think that you're going to be just placing these agents and going for vacation forever in Maldives and never coming back, you're mistaken. You need to have human oversight here. So AI systems should always remain under human supervision, right? Because at the end of the day, you also don't want to be replaced by AI, right? And again, genuine human creativity, genuine human emotion will never be replaced, but it's cool to supervise these agents. So human review ensures accountability for errors and edge cases. Organizations should maintain protocols for escalation, quality checks, and manual intervention whenever this is necessary. And again, remember that these agents, these are tools. They're here to make your life easier, not to replace your life. Again, humans remain responsible for the behavior of their AI agents, if this makes sense. Let's talk about regulatory compliance now. AI voice technology is governed by emerging regulations worldwide. It's not a free for all anymore, like it was like 1 year ago or 2 years ago. Regulations are emerging every single week, if not every single day, right? Regarding artificial intelligence, because this is a box that has opened, right? And AI APIs are now available worldwide, so they need to regulate them somehow. For example, in Europe, we've got the GDPR. It protects personal data and consent. So you need, again, to follow GDPR rules. In the EU, we have the AI Act, which classifies and regulates AI risk levels. And you can check out more information about all of these rules and regulations depending on your jurisdiction. In the US, there's CCPA, which grants rights over personal information, right? And we got also the ISO and IEC standards. These define global AI governance frameworks. And you need to have a look at these, right? Or at least download their PDF and feed it into an AI and ask the AI to summarize this. But you need to keep up with compliance, right? This will ensure the long-term sustainability of your business and of these agents working on your business. What I suggest is downloading the PDFs of all of these guides, feeding them into an AI, asking for a summary, making sure that your business, again, applies to all of these regulations. You do not want to, mess this part up. It's important, right? So let's summarize what happened in this lesson. Ethical design builds trust, right? And protects both users and organizations from stuff that we do not want when we're in business, right? You need to be transparent about AI identity and data usage. You should prioritize consent, privacy, and strong security practices, address bias, maintain human oversight, and follow regulation. Again, responsible AI development is your foundation if you want this, whole AI agent thing to work on your business. You need to be responsible. This was the end of the first module of this course, right? I'm super happy to have you up until this point. I think this was a very educational first module. And in the second module, we are going to start by analyzing the business application of voice agents. And gradually, I'm going to be introducing you to the software that we're going to be utilizing itself and starting to work on our agents together, right? I'm very excited to have you here. See you in the next module of this course. So, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations on making it in the second module of this course. Now, for the next 4 lessons, what we're going to be discussing about is, first of all, why modern businesses are adopting AI voice agents and how these AI voice agents can be actually applied to your business. And then we're going to be breaking down each step of the funnel, each positioning of the funnel that we can actually put these AI agents into place. We're going to be talking about top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and lower, again, on the funnel. Now, again, if you don't know what a funnel is, right, or have no idea, again, how these AI agents can be applied to your funnels and to your businesses, do not worry about this because we're going to be tackling, again, everything in this module right here. So again, this module is mostly centered around the application of these AI agents to your business and how they can just smooth the whole process of someone learning about your business until he actually becomes a buyer. So in this first lesson right here, we're going to be discussing why businesses are adopting AI agents. Now, again, organizations across every single industry are embracing artificial intelligence and more specifically AI agents to modernize communication. That's pretty much what AI agents have been doing and can do, and we have established this from the previous module of this course. They can save time by, again, communicating with multiple people at the same time. They lower costs because they are AI agents. They're not actual people, who need to be paid way more than them, and they can create consistent, high-quality customer interactions at scale. So in this lesson, we're going to be exploring the main reasons behind this rapid adoption of AI agents in modern businesses. Now, the first reason why these AI agents have been so organically adopted by modern businesses is this growing demand for automation, right, that characterizes the current market. Today's businesses handle thousands of, again, repetitive conversations daily, right? And if you have taken something home from this course is that whenever we have something that's repetitive and robotic, it needs to be outsourced and automated, and can be automated and outsourced with artificial intelligence, right? So again, this stems anywhere from sales calls to support requests to scheduling and updates. And these AI voice agents automate these tasks again instantly and accurately. So this automation pretty much enables businesses to grow at scale, right? Growing at scale by automating robotic repetitive tasks. So we can only focus on those human elements such as creativity, strategy, and human level decision making, right? The second reason why these AI agents have been rapidly absorbed in today's market is the fact that they're available 24/7, right? They never sleep, they do not eat, they operate continuously across time zones, right? They don't need days off, and they're also super cheap. So this constant, again, accessibility increases the engagement of AI agents, improves satisfaction, and generates more opportunities without you needing to hire additional staff. They're 24/7, again, available for you to deploy to your business, right? On top of that, due to the fact that, again, they're always available and they're relatively cheap, these AI agents can help your business scale and can help you exponentially increase your efficiency, the efficiency of your tasks. So again, these AI systems scale effortlessly. A single platform can manage hundreds of calls simultaneously, right, with consistent tone and zero waiting time. So you can eliminate all bottlenecks that were centered around this human limiting factor, right? No missed leads. And again, you can ensure that every inquiry receives instant attention from your agents. On top of that, there is the huge point of cost reduction. Voice automation significantly lowers operational costs. So we have fewer manual calls, right, and shorter queues, reduced training and turnover expenses, a pay-per-use pricing instead of full-time salaries, right, which can deviate from what you have calculated as a business, where when we have pay-per-use pricing, you know exactly what you're paying and what you're getting. And then businesses achieve higher productivity at a fraction of the traditional cost while maintaining, again, service quality. Now, let's talk also about consistency and accuracy of these agents. Again, the human tone can never completely be replaced. Let's be honest here, talking to a human being and seeing a human being, or at least talking in a human being and understanding the tone and the tonality and the emotion behind of his voice will never be 100% replaced. But these AI agents are really damn close to that, right? Again, these AI voice agents deliver uniform communication that is precise, polite, and always on brand. And these agents, they are not here to fool people. Right? You don't want to fool people thinking that they're talking to a human being and then you just have an agent there. Right? As we talked in the last lessons of the previous module, these AI agents need to be disclosed whenever they're used. Right? So what they do is that they eliminate human error. They follow conversation guidelines flawlessly and ensure that every customer receives the same high standard, again, experience. They pretty much offer consistent perfection across communication, right? Now, each AI handled call of all of the calls that these agents perform is recorded, transcribed, and summarized. So managers can gain access to just view all of the data on call outcomes, sentiment, and conversion rates. All of the data that will be extracted out of these agents can be measured, right? And when you measure something, this is how you can improve it. So these insights help refine marketing strategies, optimize scripts, and again, identify performance trends that drive measurable return on investment. You pretty much can measure exactly what happened in a call and take action according to these results, something that would be very, very hard when you had real human agents, right? And on top of that, this offers the ability to personalize those messages at scale because modern AI agents personalize again conversations using customer data for CRMs that we can import, right? Or CRMs that it has extracted from previous interactions. So these agents, right, the key element of AI and these agents having LLMs working in the backend is that they understand context and they can learn from other experiences. So the more these AI agents work for you, the more they understand how to perfect their outcome, right? So again, they can greet by name, reference past orders, and adapt tone to context. It really depends on the context that you will be giving them. So again, this individualized communication builds stronger relationships and improves engagement without all of this extra manual effort that a human being, right, would need. Now, of course, a huge reason why businesses adopt AI agents and why I believe in like 2 to 5 years, all businesses that rely on communication will be relying on these agents is the fact that it just provides a huge competitive advantage over other businesses. Again, early adopters of voice automation are gaining a clear market edge as these agents respond faster. They serve more customers on bulk at scale, right? And collect richer data than competitors, still, again, relying solely on human labor, right? So you cannot just rely on human labor if you want to scale communication. And as AI becomes standard practice, businesses that ignore it risk falling behind in both efficiency and customer expectations. So, what did we talk about in this lesson right here? This was an introductory lesson on the business applications of AI agents. And again, these agents are here to automate repetitive communication and scale outreach. Apart from just, again, automating repetitive communication, we talked about their 24/7 availability, the fact that they can reduce cost, right? They're consistent throughout their communication, right? Can measure the analytics and the key performance indicators of every single call as these agents record data and can send data back to databases where, again, manual creative people who are here to strategize can analyze these data and act, right, upon the outcome. And they can also be super personalized based on the information that you have regarding any customer that they communicate with. So again, AI voice agents enhance productivity, they improve customer experience and deliver measurable return on investment. This leads to smarter operations and faster growth powered by this conversational artificial intelligence, right? Now that we've had this small introductory lesson on the business application of AI voice agents, it is time to start analyzing each funnel that they can apply. And we're going to start by the top of the funnel. This means, right, that in the next lesson of this module, we're going to be talking about how these agents can be applied for lead generation and outreach, right? I'm super excited to have you here. Let's actually dive into the analytics of a business and how AI voice agents can be applied there. See you in the next lesson. So it is now finally time to talk about the top of the funnel applications of AI agents. And top of the funnel applications pretty much include lead generation and cold outreach, right? Client acquisition pathways. How do we acquire leads, right? And how do we turn people who do not know us and aren't aware of us to suddenly, be aware of us, right? How do we raise awareness about our products, our services, or whatever we're selling in our businesses? AI agents can actually be used in the top of our funnels, right, as awareness tools. And that's exactly what we are analyzing in this lesson right here. So let's talk about, again, lead gen and outreach using these AI agents. So again, at the top of every sales funnel lies awareness and first contact. Pretty much the first time that our potential customers are exposed to our offers, to our products, to our services. And AI voice agents are redefining how businesses approach this first stage, the top of the funnel, right? Turning what used to be a slow manual outreach process into a scalable, automated, data-driven one, right? We talked about the scaling effect of AI agents and how everything is automated, right? And that's exactly what's going to be happening in the top of our funnel. So what is the goal of the top funnel stage? Again, the top of the funnel focuses on attracting and initiating contact with our potential customers. These customers, usually they do not know us, right? They aren't aware of our offers. And that's, again, exactly what we're trying to do at this stage. So here, the objective isn't to close a sale or to collect cash. It's to identify interest, qualify prospects, and open up a conversation with them. And AI voice agents help teams reach thousands of potential leads instantly and filter out unqualified ones, right? So, how do these AI agents transform outreach? As we know, top of the funnel and raising awareness usually relies on what we called cold calling, right? So reaching out to an audience that is cold, who doesn't know us. And traditional cold calls are super time consuming and super inconsistent, right? AI voice agents automate this whole cold outreach process by calling prospects from a lead list automatically. So you can import a lead list, you can give data to these AI agents, and they will actually go ahead and call these prospects automatically. They can deliver a consistent and friendly opening pitch, which can also be personalized on exactly the tonality, the messaging, right, and the context that we have already given to these AI agents. They can handle objections or questions super intelligently, like they're having like a genuine conversation with the leads, again, on a live basis. They can schedule callbacks or follow-up calls for, again, qualified leads. So they can qualify leads on real time. Let's say that they call a complete stranger, and by these conversations that they're having, they understand that, right, this guy is interested in the services, right? So they can actually qualify him and put him in a list of more qualified, again, leads. So this creates predictable, scalable outreach without increasing headcount, right? Of course, speed and volume are super important when we're cold calling people, when reaching out to multiple different people, right? AI systems can conduct hundreds of conversations simultaneously. This means that outreach can be used, which used to take a week, can now be done in a single afternoon. All we need is the data of people to target, right? If we have all of this data of people to target, these agents can do this automatically. So speed increases the chances of connecting with decision makers before competitors do, which is super important, right? It's a critical advantage in those modern sales pipelines. Speed and volume, two key characteristics when we're targeting top of the funnel people who we're talking about, again, a huge number of heads rather than, again, qualified leads or people who are ready to purchase, which is a way lower percentage of, from the people that we're referring to in the top of the funnel. Now, lead qualification is, of course, super important because we cannot like start investing our creative time and our creative energy talking to leads who aren't qualified. And that's actually something that these voice agents can also help us with, right? Lead qualifications. They don't just call, right? They don't just call people. They actually listen to what people have to say. And they can actually detect buying intent through keywords, tone, and responses. And whatever is detected in the conversations that these AI voice agents have, it's measured and stored in databases. And we have access to these databases. So qualified leads are tagged automatically and sent to human reps for follow-up. So this is where the genuine human creativity can play a role, right? And we can tap in this genuine human creativity when the leads are qualified. And this qualification process of the leads can be done by AI agents. So again, this removes guesswork and ensures sales teams spend time only on prospects who are genuinely interested. And on top of that, we can not only qualify leads based on interest with these agents, but we can also qualify leads based on how actually well our services will apply to these people. So not only can we just bring more cash flow to our business, but we can also bring better potential clients who we can serve much, much greater, right? These personalized conversations, of course, are also a key characteristic of AI agents, because again, these agents use CRM data to personalize each and every single one of these calls that they conduct. And by the way, they can conduct multiple calls at the same time. So they can mention the recipient's name, the company, or their past interactions that they had with these agents or with even a normal human being if we also have the data. This transforms cold outreach into warm, relevant conversation, increasing trust and conversion rates right from the first contact that they had with these people. Super, super important, and a just completely game-changing advantage that AI voice agents have over just, some random person who hasn't been trained and on every single person that he calls, right? When talking about human beings. So voice agents also integrate seamlessly with tools like HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, and each call result outcome, again, interest level and notes, is logged automatically. So we have automatic, again, data processing and data collection, which enriches the CRM in the first place, providing teams with a full picture of pipeline health and next steps. Regarding compliance and tone, again, the automated outreach can remain ethical and compliant, and AI agents are programmed to follow consent rules, respect opt outs, and maintain polite professional tone. This is again, key baseline when we're using these agents, the fact that they can consistently maintain great tonality and a great approach when talking to human beings. So again, consistency in tone protects brand reputation while ensuring every interaction feels authentic and respectful. So this consistency in tone protects brand reputation while ensuring every interaction feels authentic and replaceable. Now, what are the real world results of actually applying these AI agents in the top of your funnel, right? Businesses who actually use AI driven voice outreach can report 3 to 5 times more initial contact rates, more than 60% reduction in cost per lead, which is very substantial, higher response rates due to quick, consistent follow ups. Because imagine like you get an email and immediately you can bring this person to communicate with an AI voice agent, better data accuracy for future campaigns. And again, AI voice agents turn outreach from guesswork into a measurable, optimized process. These are the real world results that you can expect from these AI voice agents. So, to summarize what happened in this lesson right here, the top of the funnel is all about awareness and first contact. That's just an awesome summary of what happens in the top of the funnel. And you can imagine, as we analyze in this lesson right here, how agents apply to the top of the funnel. So they automate outreach, they qualify leads, and scale conversations. So we're talking about personalization, speed, and data integration that make them far superior to traditional cold calling. They create an always on, fully compliant lead gen engine that continuously fills the sales pipeline with more and more qualified leads. And that's exactly what we're going to be analyzing in the next lesson. In the next lesson, we are discussing the middle of the funnel, right? So qualification and appointment booking. How can we leverage AI agents to qualify people furthermore and potentially book appointments to close on sales calls, right? More information about this in the next lesson of this course. So now that we talked about the general business applications of AI, and we also analyzed the top of the funnel applications of AI voice agents, it is now time to move to the middle of the funnel, right? So we talked about cold calling and cold approaching and raising awareness through these systems with AI agents. Now it is time to talk about qualification and appointment booking, right? How can we scale qualification and appointment booking through the utilization of AI voice agents? That's exactly what we're talking about in this lesson right here. So again, once initial contact is made, the next step here in the funnel is qualification and scheduling. So you further qualify the leads and you potentially schedule a sales call with them. And artificial intelligence voice agents play a key role here, as they can filter serious prospects and nurture relationships and book these appointments completely automatically, right? Now, let's talk about the purpose of the middle of the funnel. The middle funnel focuses on moving interested leads closer to the purchase. So you can imagine a funnel going like this. The top of the funnel, of course, involves more people as it has a way bigger diameter, but these people aren't qualified. So as we move further down the funnel, people, right, become less and less and less, but they're more qualified, bro. So the middle of the funnel is where, again, trust is built, objections are handled, and the value of the product or service is reinforced. And AI voice agents act as intelligent intermediates, bridging this gap between curiosity and commitment in the middle of the funnel. So let's now understand lead qualification itself, right? Qualification determines whether a lead is ready to buy or not. And of course, there is level, right? There are levels in lead qualification. It's a completely different thing to talk about lead awareness and lead qualification. But AI agents can move, again, the needle from the awareness stage to having leads actually being qualified. So they can evaluate leads by asking structured questions like, are you currently using a similar service? What's your timeline for implementation? Or who's the decision maker on your team, right? Their ability to adapt to responses help identify genuine opportunity quickly and accurately, right? Without having them lose interest or move away to the fact that these AI agents can be applied automatically at scale immediately, right? And of course, they also offer dynamic conversations to ensure that these leads will be qualified. So, unlike chatbots who have been prompted once, AI voice agents can hold multi turn conversations completely naturally. They adjust based on tone, hesitation, or keywords, allowing fully realistic discussions to take place, which of course are also recorded, right, and transcribed. So this conversational flow mimics human interaction and helps extract valuable insights without again sounding too robotic, which is something that we don't want, right? On top of that, they can automatically book appointments, which is huge. Because imagine back in the day when a normal human being, a normal agent wanted to book an appointment, he would call the potential lead, qualify him himself, and then try to persuade him to have an appointment set, right? But now, again, one of the most powerful middle funnel functions is this automated scheduling that these AI agents provide. These agents can analyze your available time slots on real time. They can sync with calendars like Google Outlook or Notion or whatever other calendar you have. You just input this information in the API of these agents. I'm going to show you how to do it later on in this course. Agents can confirm appointments pretty instantly and send reminders or reschedule any appointments when needed. And again, these tasks can be handled in bulk, right? So again, this streamlines workflows and eliminates scheduling back and forth. That is something that would happen if you had a normal human agent do this role. So you can imagine these admin tasks, how easy it is to leverage the power of an AI agent, right? And of course, you can integrate CRMs and calendars to give more data to these agents. So all conversation outcomes are automatically logged into CRM systems, right? So lead status updates, qualification scores, appointment details, these appear instantly on sales dashboards. So this ensures a seamless collaboration between the agent and the human sales reps, right? Because at the bottom of the funnel, we will be using human sales reps. You will see about this in the next lesson of this course. But for now, we just want to have this beautiful assist between agents and normal human beings that will be taking the funnel after the middle of the funnel part from the AI voice agents. So now let's talk about handling objections and frequently asked questions, which is something, it's a natural part, let's say, of the lead qualification system in the middle of the funnel. So AI voice agents can be trained with data from past calls to recognize common objections that may be into place. They can respond with tailored answers. They can redirect to benefits or escalate to a human rep when needed. Because again, we talked about these agents not completely, again, taking the job out of like genuine people who can not only communicate, but solve problems with their creativity. They will be able, though, to respond to answers and redirect people to normal human reps. And this keeps, again, conversations productive and ensures no lead is lost due to hesitation or confusion. And finally, nurturing warm leads. So at this stage of the funnel, in the middle of the funnel, we have leads that have turned from cold to warmer. So again, warm leads doesn't mean that people are ready to buy immediately, right? This might be an indication that they're ready to move to a sales call. So again, AI voice agents can schedule follow-up calls, they can share additional information or check back after a set time, right? This ongoing engagement keeps leads warm and nurtured until they're ready to convert pretty automatically, which is exactly what we're looking for right now. So, what is the business impact of the middle of the funnel applications of AI agents in this case? Companies that are leveraging AI in the middle funnel report 50 to 70% faster qualification time. They report 30% higher appointment show up rates, improved CRM accuracy through automated updates, consistent follow up sequences without human oversight. And again, this stage directly increases sales efficiency and conversion potential. This is what you can expect if you apply these AI agents in the middle of your funnel. So, what should you gain from this lesson right here? Again, the middle of the funnel is where interest turns into intent. We talked about the top of the funnel when, again, we just raise awareness and people move from being aware to being interested. Now we converted interest to intent, or at least I described to you how agents can do that, right? They do that by qualifying leads, by handling objections, and by booking appointments automatically, by redirecting people, right, to genuine human beings that will close the sales calls automatically. They can also integrate with CRMs, which ensures this smooth collaboration between artificial intelligence and sales teams. And by automating this stage, by automating the middle of the funnel, businesses can now save time, reduce friction, and maintain constant engagement with warm prospects, right? So now that we're done with analyzing the middle of the funnel, it is time to talk about bottom funnel, right? Which pretty much means retaining the customers after the sales call has been conducted and after you've closed the sale, and follow-ups. And that's what's going to be happening in the final lesson of the second module of this course. So I'm super happy to have you here. See you in the next lesson. So the bottom of the funnel is where conversion happens and a lead is converted into a buyer, but it's also where retention actually is introduced into businesses, because you want to retain clients for as much as you want, right? And as you can. You want to increase the lifetime value of every single one of your clients. And this is something that actually AI agents can really help you with, right? In the bottom of the funnel, in this lesson right here, we're going to be discussing about customer retention and follow-ups that will increase the lifetime value of every single one of your clients with the utilization of AI agents. So again, conversion happens and retention begins at the bottom of the funnel. AI voice agents play a crucial role here by ensuring no lead goes cold, every customer feels valued, and relationships continue after the sale to increase the lifetime value of every single customer. The goal, again, of the bottom funnel is to nurture existing customers and maximize their lifetime value. So retention, renewals, and re-engagement are the key priorities if you want to create this evergreen system of not only acquiring clients, but also retaining them. AI voice agents automate all of these processes. So they automate retention, they automate renewals, and they automate re-engagement with timely, personalized communication that keeps customers connected to your brand. And again, we do this, all of these, right, points here, retention, renewals, re-engagement, we do this with communication. So let's talk about the post-purchase engagement. Once a sale is made, right, and your client has now exited your pipeline, right, this lead has exited your pipeline because it is now a client, consistent follow-up is super, super essential if you want to retain this client. And voice agents can deliver consistent follow-ups, as follow-ups are just part of communication. So they can call customers to confirm delivery or completion. They can offer onboarding assistance or next step instructions. They can ask for feedback or reviews, or identify to cross-sell, for example, any, again, other offers that you have, or to upsell opportunities. And these just simple check-ins can really strengthen your trust and loyalty, right, you have between yourself, your brand, and your customers, and of course, increase their lifetime value. Those are just some tasks that these agents can really offer, right? So let's talk about automating renewals. Again, renewal reminders are a great way to just have more and more of your customers renew their contracts with you. So it's easy, again, it's easy to overlook them if you do them manually, if you tackle your renewals manually. And AI voice agents can automatically notify customers of upcoming expirations, for example. They can present renewal or upgrade options to them, right? Specifically tailored to their, again, services, right? They can present, again, renewal or upgrade options specifically tailored to their taste. They can answer any related questions that they have that might keep them from renewing. Again, transfer interested users directly to a live agent for payment if they still want to talk with a live agent before processing the payment, which is completely normal. So this proactive outreach, this again lies under the umbrella of retention rather than conversion, but this proactive outreach prevents churn and boosts recurring revenue. So let's talk about upselling and cross-selling people to other offers of yours. After the initial purchase, AI voice agents can also recommend complementary products or higher tier services to again increase the lifetime value of your clients by not only retaining them but also upselling them to other offers. They identified needs based on various purchases and usage data, which is something that these agents can really do, right? They analyze data that you give them, and by timing these calls strategically, they increase customer value without feeling, again, intrusive or sales driven, right? Customer feedback and service are an awesome way to feed these voice agents with information, right? Because again, they are very, very effective for collecting structured feedback for your clients. They can also conduct short satisfaction surveys, right? Or ask open-ended questions if you want to find, let's say, a frictionless way to extract data from your clients, right? To see what worked, what didn't work, how your business performs. So responses are transcribed and analyzed automatically, giving businesses real-time insights into customer experience and improvement areas, right? They can also handle complaints, support escalation to reduce churn. So when issues arise, and it's completely normal for any business to have issues, right? These voice agents act as the first line of contact, an immediate line of contact that they can immediately, again, initiate contact with your clients to make sure that these issues are going to be resolved. So they can acknowledge complaints, provide quick troubleshooting, or escalate urgent matters to a human agent. And you always need to have a human agent in the backbone, again, of your business when you're running these AI agents. You just not want only to have AI tackle these things. So this ensures every problem is addressed promptly, improving brand reputation and retention, right? So now let's talk about personalized re-engagement campaigns. AI systems can segment customers by behavior or purchase history and deliver tailored follow-ups. For example, right, they can categorize customers based on if they bought, if they added to the cart, right, or if they bought two things or three things, right, and create tailored follow-ups for them. It's been a while since your last purchase, for example, or a new version of your product is now available. So these are, again, custom products based on different buyer personas that have been created and have been established based on all of the data that you have extracted and analyzed. Or we'd love your feedback on your recent experience. This type of automation, again, keeps communication alive along after, again, the first sale, which increases your chances of retaining customers, right? What are the business benefits of AI-driven retention, right? Companies that actually use AI for customer retention report a 40% higher repeat purchase rates, right? So again, 40% increased potential clients buying again, lower churn and support costs, definitely, as these agents are very much cheaper than having a normal, again, human being communicating with clients and resolving their problems, stronger long-term relationships between business and clients, higher average customer lifetime value, and again, retention powered by automation is one of the most profitable uses of the AI voice technology. This covers the whole, again, funnel, from the top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel, right? This lesson right here. So what we did in this lesson is that we pretty much focused, again, on maintaining and growing customer relationships with AI. We closed the funnel by conversion. And again, conversion, we didn't have a lesson on conversion because usually conversion, right? Converting a lead to a client, right? So processing this payment usually involves human interaction. But after conversion, we also analyzed retention. So again, these AI voice agents can handle renewals, upsells, surveys, and support follow-ups automatically. So this proactive communication can build loyalty and reduce churn, which will lead to an increased lifetime value of a customer and increased engagement and retention. So again, smart automation at this stage transforms one-time buyers into long-term advocates. And this, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this whole chapter that we opened on how these AI agents can be applied to your business, from top of the funnel to middle of the funnel to bottom of the funnel. We talked about, again, raising awareness about our products and our services in cold outreach with these AI agents. Then we moved into, again, qualifying them and making sure that these people are interested in our offers and they're ready to move down in our funnel, deeper in the rabbit hole, if you will. And finally, after these clients, these leads were actually converted into clients, we're talking about retention and increasing their lifetime value with AI voice agents in this lesson right here. So this right here was the final conclusive lesson of the second module of this course, in which, again, we discussed about the business application of AI agents in your funnels. And now it is time to actually start our AI agent engine, if you will, and actually engage with these AI agents. I'm going to show you an overview of the software we're going to be using, how to create these agents, how to deploy them. And I think it's going to be super cool and super, super educational and super practical too, right? Enough of the theory. So I'm going to see you in the next lesson of this course. So welcome to the lesson in which we're going to be actually analyzing the interface of Voice Genie, and I'm going to be elaborating on every single category of the software, every single, let's say, thing that you can tweak in order to maximize your reach with your AI agents. Now, of course, this lesson right here will set foundation for the next lessons to come, during which we're going to be creating our campaigns, tweaking our voice agents, and actually creating inbound and outbound campaigns with our AI voice agents. So again, this is going to be a general overview of Voice Genie, which is the software of choice regarding the deployment of AI voice agents. So I'm super, super happy to have you here. Let's launch Voice Genie. Let me show you exactly how to navigate in this software. So this is what you see once you join Voice Genie, right? Inside of Voice Genie. And as you can see, in the left side of our screen, we have all of these different buttons. So we can choose assistants, we can access our knowledge base, we can tweak our operational hours, connect our phones, connect our contacts, launch campaigns, again, either inbound or outbound, monitor our calls, integrate different softwares, APIs, and choose the members of our organizations. So let me show you in general how to navigate through all of these different, again, categories: the build category, the deploy category, the monitor category, and the system category. Everything is super self-explanatory. And if you join Voice Genie, you can navigate through this by yourself. But for the sake of this demonstration right here, I'm just going to show you, let's say, superficially what every single one of these categories and buttons do. So let's start with the build category. In the build category, you can see that you can access all of those different assistants, either default assistants that have already been pre-prompted, right, by Voice Genie, or you can go ahead and create a new assistant, which we will be doing in later lessons, again, of this course. Now, the default assistants, as you can see, for the sake of this demonstration, again, it's a lead qualification agent, which, as you can see, identifies leads, understands challenges, connects with suitable sales reps, right? So this is what this lead has been prompted. And as you can see, below the lead itself, you can see which LLM is running right behind this agent. And in this case, it is GPT 4.1 mini. And of course, the language that this agent, again, speaks. And again, in later lessons, I'm going to show you exactly how these agents, operate and how you can communicate with these agents. We got the customer service agent, which acts as a customer support and, again, solves customer queries, or the service and feedback collection agent. And again, these are default assistants that if you want, of course, you can use with your campaigns, but we can also create our new assistant here, which is going to be a way more in-depth process. I'm going to show you how to do this again in next lessons. Now, the knowledge base is where pretty much you can import and create new knowledge base to train your assistant. So pretty much you can manage, again, your knowledge bases for your AI assistants. If you want to add more detail rather than just the simple prompting that we're going to be doing for our assistants, this right here is the knowledge base. And you can create new knowledge bases from here by again describing a name for this knowledge base and providing a clear description of what this knowledge base contains. Something like prompting, but it will just give more information and organize this information right here for your AI assistants. And you will see that when we create these AI assistants, you can actually choose different knowledge bases to give to your assistants. It's like prompting, let's say, automated prompting for your assistants. Moving on, we got the operational hours, and pretty much it again configures times when you're available for bookings and appointments. And this will play an awesome role when we also integrate other software, because multiple times you will see that those voice assistants will actually and can be prompted, right, to take cold leads and make them book calls with you, right? So, Voice Genie needs to know when you are available. So you can create working hours, and if you click on create working hours, you can pretty much describe, again, your working hours name, choose your time zone. So these AI agents know exactly when to book calls with you, right? So you're on the same page here. Pretty straightforward, but again, especially in outbound campaigns, they need to know when you're available to book a call in order to also communicate with potential clients and leads. Now, in the deploy section, you can see that we have the phone settings. And again, you can connect your phone to, again, send these AI voice agents to take phone calls, either with Twilio or Plivo, which are two different software options to connect your phone. And it's super straightforward how to connect Twilio and how to connect Plivo, right? Both of these, we have like a tutorial here, which you can follow with a step-by-step guide. It's super easy, super straightforward. Just enter this software right here, either Plivo again or Twilio. You connect your phone, the phone is connected, and now your AI agents can utilize your phone, right? Your phone's number or your business's phone number to just reach everyone with your campaigns, right? So we got this guide below. Again, it's super straightforward. I'm going to do this for safety reasons. I'm not going to give my phone here, but it's very, very easy to connect your phone. And again, if you connect your phone, the next step to deploy these voice agents is to also add a contact list. So in the contacts, you can again manage your contact lists and individual contacts. So you can create, again, new contact lists and import CSV files at bulk, right, of people that you want to target. And of course, when we're targeting someone, if we want to target them with AI voice agents, we need to have this data sourced and collected, right? The data of the people who we're going to be targeting, which includes like at least their name, their surname, right, and their phone number. And of course, the more information we have about the people that we're targeting, the better, especially in the case of these AI voice agents. So you can see we have the name, their description, the total count, when this lead was created, and what action will be taken, right? So this was the phone, this was the contact section, and now we move to the campaigns. And you get two different types of campaigns that you can create. You can create inbound campaigns and outbound campaigns. So let's click on inbound campaigns. As you can see, again, in inbound campaigns, you receive calls. So when do we use inbound campaigns? Let's say, for example, that you have a business and you want to automate customer service, right? This is going to be an inbound campaign. So you're receiving calls from people, for example, that have frequently asked questions or complaints, and you can outsource the communication to an AI agent. So this is done by an inbound campaign, and you can create it from here. You click on campaigns, inbound, and you can create your campaign. I'm going to show you how to do this later on in later lessons. On top of that, you can click on campaigns, right? Outbound, and now you're managing outbound campaigns. And what are outbound campaigns? Are pretty much campaigns in which your AI agents make the calls themselves, right? So this would be top of the funnel deployment of AI voice agents to reach out for example, as cold outreach to different people. In outbound campaigns, remember, AI agents are reaching out to other people and other businesses. In inbound campaigns, you are receiving calls and you're delegating them to these AI agents. So let's say, for example, that you have created your assistants, you have imported your knowledge base, you have, again, completed your operational hours, so these agents know exactly when you operate and when they can outsource, again, people and forward people to your calendar. You have added your phone and your contacts lists, and now you are starting to run these campaigns. What happens next, right? After you've built and deployed your AI agents, the next step is to actually monitor, right, the data out of these calls that these AI agents have been taking. It's super important to monitor data and extract data from all of this process right here, so you know exactly how to perfect next campaigns of yours. So in the monitor section, if you click on calls, you will see, and those are some test calls that I run. So you can see the customer name is like my name, right? You can monitor your outbound campaigns, your inbound campaigns from here, right? And you can see the type of campaign. This was an outbound campaign, for example, the phone number of the person who, again, you called in the case of an outbound campaign, right? The status. So, for example, this call is ended. The call duration. This was a 4-minute duration, as you can see, right? The assistant name. So, which assistant did you use, or which assistant was used here? The campaign name, customer name. Did he answer the call? Yes, he did. And if you click, you can see more information, which I'm going to show you in just a second. So again, he answered the call, right? Voicemail was not detected. Custom SMS was not invoked. I'm going to show you again how to create custom SMSs. And if you actually click on each, again, call here, a new menu will pop up. Let me actually click on this one right here. A new menu with more information about the call will pop up, right? So you can see, let's say the phone number, right? The call overview was 4 minutes and 15 seconds. When did it start? When did it end? Again, we got a whole recording of the call, which you can preview, and again, breakdown of exactly what happened transcribed right here. So we got call analytics, right? And everything, and the whole call with as much information as possible on the monitor call section. So let's talk now about system, right? And in general, the different integration that you can add to Voice Genie, which is where the true magic happens. So if we click on integrations, right? These are the 5 platforms that you can integrate to Voice Genie. So we have HubSpot, which is a customer engagement platform that helps businesses manage their customer data and drive growth. So again, if you want to measure data and help your business thrive through measuring data, HubSpot is like the place to go. Go High Level is also another option to integrate with landing pages and website. And again, there are other, again, easy to use voice assistants on Go High Level. Cal.com is definitely an integration that you want to have if you want these voice agents to book appointments automatically. So they book appointments through Cal.com, which is super easy to use. Zapier is a software that helps you automate different processes with artificial intelligence, and you can definitely connect Voice Genie to Zapier. For example, let's say that you want to connect Voice Genie with your Instagram DMs, and you can actually program Zapier whenever you get an Instagram DM with someone giving you their phone number to receive an automated call from a voice agent, AI voice agent from Voice Genie. So those are the type of automations that you can drive through Zapier. There is real power in Zapier. And of course, in Level Labs, which is an AI-powered virtual assistant platform. Now, the most important, again, integrations for you to enable here is definitely Cal.com if you want to be booking meetings with these AI agents. And I would also suggest you to connect Zapier because you never know when you're going to be using these voice agents in an automated process, right? In an automation. So it's super important to connect these two. The other 3 I haven't connected, I haven't experimented with, but definitely Cal.com and Zapier, I 100% recommend. Now, regarding the APIs, here you can, again, manage tokens and receive the API of Voice Genie if you want to integrate it with other software and other applications, again, manually. And in the Members tab, you also choose different members to add to your workspace. For example, I can invite more members to add to my workspace if, again, I'm running a business that's more than one person, right? But for the sake of this demonstration, I think that we don't need to invite more members. So this right here concludes the interface overview of Voice Genie. I believe that we set foundation on what this platform can do and how you can leverage voice agents through this software. Now let's actually go ahead and create our first voice agent, create our first assistant, right? right? So I'm going to be doing this in the next lesson of this course. So now it is time to actually create our first AI voice agent using Voice Genie. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this lesson right here. Again, in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to be walking through a step-by-step process on how to deploy, create, and prompt your first agent. So I'm super excited to have you here. Let's actually go ahead and do this. Now, inside of Voice Genie, as you can see, in this, again, first homepage of the software, we click on Assistants, right? Which again, as we analyzed in the previous lesson, Voice Genie is subdivided into 4 categories: build, deploy, monitor, and system. And for the sake of our campaigns, the first step is to build the assistants themselves. And in build, we click on assistants and we're navigated into this page right here. Now, in this page, you can see the default assistants that Voice Genie already has: the lead qualification agent, right, the customer service agent, the surveys and feedback collection agent. And we could go ahead and click on this button right here, this blue button, to create our first voice agent, our first voice assistant. So once I click on this button, you will see that it asks for the assistant name, the company name, and you can either choose a already pre-made template or create a new template by scratch. Now, let's say that we want to create an assistant, right? A customer service assistant for inbound campaigns, right? So when someone calls our service, calls our business, I want this call to be redirected into this new assistant that I'm creating right now. So let's name this assistant, for example, right? Customer service agent, right? Company name, let's just call it Lambs, right? And again, we can choose from templates. So is this going to be a lead qualification agent, a service and feedback collection agent, or a customer service agent? Now, for this case, we can actually click on customer service agent, but let's start from scratch for me to show you how you can actually prompt these assistants. So we click on start from scratch, right? And we click on create. Now, as you can see right now, this new customer service agent of ours is created. And if we go back and I click on edit assistant, we can open this menu for us to start editing the ins and outs of our assistant, right? What is the first thing that we can tweak here? The first thing that we can tweak is the LLM, the large language model, that will be, again, sourcing this assistant with, let's say, knowledge and context. And in this case, this is ChatGPT 4.1 mini. And in Voice Genie, you can have ChatGPT 4.1 mini, ChatGPT 4.0, or Gemini Flash. So let's just use 4.1 mini. Then you can tweak the language. You can have like Bulgarian, Chinese, Croatian, Czech, Danish, Dutch, English. So let's keep English, right? And you can go ahead and actually configure your voice accents, right? So we have English with voice accents, and you can choose which assistant you want to use, which is super cool. And you can see how much in depth you can go with this whole customization process right here. So you can choose, for example, Jenna or Yusil or Michael James, right? Or Daniel or Denzel. And you can see that this, for example, Denzel, who has a deep voice, speaks in English, right? He's from the US, so he has an accent from the United States of America. He's a male, and he's powered by 11 Labs, which is this AI voice assistant software that's playing on the back end, right, to help us with the voice assistant. So if I just increase the volume of my system here, we can actually test the deep voice of Denzel. So let's click on play.
In the vast ocean, the gentle whale reminds us that true power.
So this is Denzel. For example, Daniel has an Australian accent, right? He's from Australia, male, powered by 11 Labs. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Alex. I have a casual conversational tone with an Australian accent.
Pretty self-explanatory, right? Right? Or let's say someone else with a different accent. You can see we have 729 different accents to choose from. And right now I'm playing with Jessica, who's from the US, powered by 11 Labs, and she's a female, right? Adam, for example, right? He's from the United Kingdom, right? Male, powered by 11 Labs. Let's check it out.
In the silence of midnight, footsteps echoed closer.
I didn't really like that one. Let's see Arum, the final one, Arum Branham, right? Again, from the USA, male, 11 Labs.
Don't settle for an amateur voice. Use mine for clarity, nuance.
I actually pretty like it. So let's select this one, right? This one selected, as you can see, selected voice agents hits right here, Aurum Branham, right? And we can also add voice filters, right? So again, choose the gender, choose the accent, choose the category, choose the country. If you want to go more specific and want a, again, direct, let's say a very specific accent to your voice assistant. So if we click on save changes, right now our, again, agent, customer service agent is configured. Now let's move to the goal. And again, in this small box right here, you need to define the primary purpose or objective of this assistant. This helps guide its behavior and responses towards achieving specific outcomes. So the goal is to, let's say, solve any problems that customers may have and don't require human intervention, right? Again, the welcome note. So for example, how does this voice agent welcome people when they're calling? For example, hi, then he quotes the first name of the person who's calling. How are you doing today? And you can also have a more detailed script. So for example, opening with a warm welcome, right? Hello, first name, right? Which again will be imported by all of the data sets that we have imported in the knowledge base or in our contacts list, right? Thank you for reaching out. I'm here to assist you because again, this is an inbound campaign. So these people are calling us, right? And we're using this AI assistant to delegate, right? Could you share a bit more what you're looking for or how I might help? And again, the goal. The goal is to start with a friendly, open-ended question to understand the customer's needs and set a positive tone. 2, explore customer needs. The second objective. Could you please tell me a bit more about what's most important for you in this area? For example, some customers look for benefits, features relevant to your service, such as reliability, affordability, customization, etc. Right? Goal, invite the customer to elaborate on their needs and priorities without focusing on a specific product. So in this side, we just create the prompt, we prompt the assistant on how he should act, how he should communicate, and what should be the outcome of this conversation right here. And you can go ahead and manually type this prompt, or you can use AI to type this prompt for you. You can use ChatGPT, for example, to create a detailed prompt on how you want to prompt your AI assistant to communicate with people on those inbound campaigns. And if you want the prompt to look exactly like this one right here, what I suggest you is to actually go ahead and copy all of this, right? Copy, paste it on GPT, and give the prompt to GPT something like, hey, this is an example of a script that I'm using to prompt my AI assistant. I want you to give me the exact same type, right, or framework of prompt, but by changing A, B, C, D, E, whatever you want to change. It's super, again, easy to create these prompts. And this is exactly how these AI voice assistants will be operating. And again, the variables that we're going to be using in this prompt is the customer number and the first name. That's it. So in these cases, these, again, vary, the first name and the customer number. So when you add them, the voice assistants will be quoting their first names and they will also be quoting their customer numbers. And again, as you can see, there are more settings that we can tweak in these AI voice assistants. For example, in the general settings, right, you can tweak the company name, right? They can also reference, if you will, the company on their scripts, right, by clicking on customized use variables and adding more and more variables. Or regarding the conversation, right, what we can tweak here is to allow, again, voice assistants to re-engage with the user if the user has not responded, or change the response time limit in seconds. For example, again, have a bigger response time minute or a lower response time minute. Let's have 10 seconds, for example, response time minutes. Do you want your voice assistants to re-engage, right? Again, so you enable this setting to allow the assistant to re-engage with the user if the user has not responded. So let's say the user, does not respond. He doesn't hang up, but he doesn't respond, right? In this case, we allow our voice assistants to re-engage. right? And how many attempts should they do? Should they do 2 attempts, more attempts? So you can prompt them to do up to 5 attempts. So 5 times, if you do not engage, they will try to re-engage and re-engage and re-engage even more. And how do they re-engage? For example, in this case, the prompt that we have given for these AI assistants to re-engage is, sorry, I didn't get any response for you. Are you still there? Right? And you can tweak this stuff regarding the conversation. You can see how many different parameters we can change with this awesome software here regarding calling, right? Again, if they reach voicemail, should you leave a message or should you hang up, right? Regarding different action that they can take, right? Which is actually the most important thing of this whole prompting of our assistant. What action do you want this assistant of yours that you're custom coding right now to take? For example, let's say that you want to transfer these people that we're talking to a human being, right? And as you can see, during call, right, if the contact wishes to talk to human, we will forward the call to these numbers, right? The call will be tried with all the numbers, but only connected to the first agent who picks up the call. So in this case, again, an AI voice agent receives the call. He handles the first engagement, the first impression, right, with the potential customer. And then again, if the contact wishes to talk to a human, let's say that you have a big team of 5 different people in 5 different sections waiting to pick up a call, you can have all of these numbers ring, and then one of them just picks up the phone, and the voice agent like delegates the number specifically to this one, which is super cool. And if you click on this and you enable it, it will transfer people to human when this voice assistant again understands that, okay, it's time now to transfer to a human being. Or you can actually enable a custom SMS. If you set up, again, customizable trigger prompts like send me a brochure or can we set up an appointment during a call, right? When these prompts are spoken, an SMS with your predefined message in the template will be sent automatically. Or regarding booking a meeting, right? This allows leads to easily schedule meetings via a phone call, right? So it gives them the flexibility to choose a convenient time, streamlining the booking process and enhancing engagement, right? And this, if you want to enable it, as you can see, you need a Cal account to attach events here. So with your Cal account, which if you remember in the integrations, it is this scheduling software, you can actually have these voice agents work for you and book meetings on Cal accounts. Or if you want, you can actually have a completely custom call to action, right, with API calls, right? And APIs is if you want to further integrate Voice Genie into other software that haven't been added into the integrations. So this was the action section. Now let's move to the knowledge base. If you want to prompt this assistant with, again, an already set of data sets, you can do this with the knowledge base, which you can add from here. So in this knowledge base, you add more information and more information regarding context, right, of what this AI voice assistant should know and should understand about your customers. And then you can import this knowledge base exactly right here. I'm going to have a look in the knowledge base in just a second. So again, this is where you input knowledge bases, right? And you can create as many knowledge bases as you want to give context to as many voice assistants as you want, right? Finally, in the settings tab of your voice assistant, we also have the post call analysis section. And for example, in the call inside, right, you can modify the selected question details, right? So if I click on question, right, you can add a question, a shorthead type of question, and you can also have a webhook, if you will, to again gain more information about the post-call analysis, which we're going to be checking out in just a second. So right here, this is your assistant. This is the assistant that we created, and we can actually go ahead and test this assistant for the sake of this demonstration. So I'll give you a short test, and then in the next lesson, we're actually going to be further engaging with voice assistants to understand better the context behind them, how they communicate, right? And then also be able to monitor the calls in the monitor section. So this pretty much concludes the lesson in which we created our voice assistants inside of Voice Genie. As you saw, there are so many parameters that we can tweak. And if you also count the fact that you can input more data through those custom knowledge bases, right? Apart from just prompting the assistants yourself or with using other AI software, right? You can just imagine how many different types of assistants you can use. Now, I know that we have been working on the back end and we have been working, let's say, behind the scenes in those assistants. So let's actually go ahead and see how these assistants operate and how people can engage with these assistants in the next lesson again of this course. So in the next lesson, we're actually firing up one of these assistants and we're engaging with him to show you exactly how the tonality of this assistant looks like and how they will be interacting with your customers or your potential leads. So thank you very much for being here. I'm going to see you in the next lesson of the course. So in the previous lesson, we went ahead and we actually created, like we custom created our AI voice agents. And now it is time to go ahead and test their capabilities, right? Test how they communicate, their responsiveness, their context, right? The elements of this interaction. And we're going to be doing this on a live basis on this lesson right here. The first time that I tested a voice agent, my mind was completely blown away. And the magic won't happen actually in this lesson. The magic will happen in lesson in which we're going to be analyzing the data from this conversation and how categorized and organized all of the data that these agents collect will be, right? So let's actually go ahead and engage with these AI agents in this lesson right here. I'm super, super excited to have you here, right? Finally. So we're here in these agents, and for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to be testing out the lead qualification agent. So again, this agent identifies leads, understands challenges, and connects with suitable reps if needed. So let's actually go ahead and test this assistant. And once you click on test assistant, you can either choose a native dialer or web calling. So for the sake again of this demonstration, let's do web calling and let's launch it.
Hi, Lambros Laz. How are you doing?
Hey,
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about you?
Glad to hear that. Doing well, thank you. This is Nova from Edgeway Solutions. We help businesses improve their operational efficiency through custom software solutions. Do you have a few minutes to chat about how we might be able to help your business?
I'm actually kind of busy right now, but sure. Yeah, let me know.
I understand you're busy. Just briefly, the main benefit our clients in your industry see is a significant reduction in manual process bottlenecks, improving overall efficiency. Could you tell me a bit about your business and the industry you operate in?
Yeah, so we're currently operating in the e-learning space. We run a course content production agency, if you will. We produce courses and educate people across the whole world, like through cutting edge technologies and new upgrades and updates in the world of content and AI. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
That's a great point about using cutting edge tech and e-learning. What systems or processes are you currently using to manage your course content production and client interactions?
Yeah. I mean, regarding course production, things haven't evolved in a crazy way. I mean, I personally don't adopt AI in my course production. I use a traditional camera, traditional microphone. So I guess a bottleneck here could be the fact that my personal time is tied into the, scaling my business, right? I need to invest like my personal time and energy in order to produce more courses and educate more people. So this definitely
I
is.
understand exactly.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. You mentioned your personal time as a bottleneck for scaling your course production. How is this impacting your business growth or revenue?
Yeah. I mean, definitely we're doing good numbers here and we're educating like lots of people, which is what matters. I've never tested trying to remove myself out of the equation of course production and actually producing the courses, like outsourcing this production thing to a team, because I really feel like this personal touch of mine is the secret sauce, if you will, of why these courses are successful. But yeah,
That's an insightful point about your personal touch being the secret sauce. Have you explored any solutions or tools to help delegate or automate parts of your production process so you can scale without losing that quality?
I actually haven't. I actually haven't tested. I've experimented with AI a bit, but I feel like we're not there yet regarding content production with AI. It's too expensive, and the outcome isn't that good. So yeah, the answer is actually no.
Thanks for sharing that. Based on what you said, Our Operations OS could help by automating workflow tasks, freeing up your time while keeping your quality standards. Would you be open to exploring how that might fit your needs?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Sure.
Great. What's your timeline for implementing a solution like this? Are you looking to start within the next few months?
Yeah, I mean, if it works and if it delivers results, I can start like next week.
That's excellent to hear. Have you allocated a budget for improving your course production processes, or would you need to discuss that internally first?
I guess we would need to discuss that internally. Yeah.
Understood. Who else would be involved in evaluating a solution like ours for your business?
Honestly, just me. Just me. I am the decision maker here.
Thanks for clarifying that. If you were to implement a new solution, how would you measure its success in improving your course production?
I guess I could measure the course production speeds and also the revenue generated from each course if it's as substantial as it is right now.
It's a solid approach. Based on our conversation, I think it would be valuable to have you speak with our specialist in workflow automation who can provide a tailored overview of how Operations OS could help with scaling your production efficiently. Would you be available for a 30-minute call tomorrow at 10 a.m. or Thursday at 2 p.m.?
Yeah, actually, we can do Thursday at 2 p.m. I think this would be perfect. Is it Greek time or like US time?
Good question. 2 p.m. slot is in your local time zone, Greek time. Arrange for our specialist to connect with you then. I'll send you a confirmation shortly. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for your time today.
And that was the call. How cool was that? I mean, not only yeah, and here's the call summary, right? Exactly when the call is done, you get this call summary. But before we analyze the call summary, how cool is the fact that it doesn't only give me like custom coded answers, right, and already coded answers, but it understands, right? It understands context, and it was super fast, right? I feel like this is it was pretty cool and actually pretty scary because like AI is gonna just keep getting better and better and better and better, and these agents at some point I feel like we're not gonna be we wouldn't be able to distinguish them from like real human beings. So that was an experience, right? So this concludes like the test lesson in which we tested these agents, and let's actually go ahead and analyze the call summary now to see the data that we can extract from this call summary. Right? I'm super excited. Let's move to the next lesson. So in the previous lesson, we learned how to monitor our calls and how to gather all of the data that have been extracted from the potential leads that our AI agents, again, targeted and talk to. Now, let's say that you want to give out specific information to these AI agents of yours. You want to train them on specific details around your business, or you want to train them around specific tasks, right? So potential leads and potential clients do not talk with generic AI, if you will. You want to train your AI. Well, this is completely possible, right, with these AI agents here in Voice Genie. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it with the knowledge base. Now, with the knowledge base feature, we will be inputting information directly to the LLM of our, again, voice agents. And these voice agents will act with complete, again, context around the business that they're serving and, again, how to achieve the, let's say, ultimate outcome that we want them to do so. So let's open Voice Genie. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the home page again, and in the build section, as you can see, right below the assistance tab, which we have open right now, you can access the so-called knowledge base. As you can see, the knowledge base states manage your knowledge bases for all of the AI assistants, right? So we click on create a new knowledge base. And by the way, you can have multiple different knowledge bases which can be inputted into different assistants of yours. It's not that we have just, one knowledge base or of course, one assistant. You can have different knowledge bases going to every single one of your assistants. And if I create a knowledge base, as you see, it asks for a name and a description. So let's say for the sake of this demonstration right here that I am running a course production business, right? And I want to train people around exactly what we do as a business and how we can serve clients. So let's say that the name, for example, would be, of the knowledge base, the name would be LLMs course creation. Again, knowledge, and the description would be this right here: a central hub of training data covering course creation, production, and marketing processes. And I click on save, and we have the knowledge base right here. Now, again, you can have multiple different items per page, more than 10. Again, per page, and you can have multiple pages. So again, as you can imagine, you can input all of the data that you have around your business. You can input data around, again, specific tasks of your business. Let's say that you want to have a knowledge base around editing, right? Online course editing, or online course production, or online course sales, online course marketing, to train your agents, right, across these different data sets. You can do so, right? But just in this video, I'm just giving you a general demonstration of how to create a knowledge base. So once you click here, right, you click on the knowledge base, you get to actually input information to the knowledge base itself. So you want to train, if you will, your knowledge base. And this is the button that we're going to be clicking: train knowledge base. But not now. First, we need to give context and context and context and data, as much data as we have around, again, our knowledge base. So if you will, you want to give knowledge at this point. And we do this with either links or PDFs. So if you click on PDFs, you can upload files, right? Again, you can manually upload PDFs from your computer that have information around what you want to be teaching to your AI agents, or you can do links. So let's say, again, for the sake of this demonstration, that we're doing a link of my landing page right here, which is the course creation services that we offer, right? And I'm going to be pasting the link right here, right? So I pasted the link, add URL, and the URL is now added. So as you can see right here next to the URL, you can see the status, right, of this training. And now the status is red, which means that it hasn't been trained. The knowledge base hasn't been trained around my website. Let's actually open more pages of my website. For example, right now I'm opening the creators page of my website. I'm going to be copying this and pasting it again as a URL. So this is another URL. I'm going to be opening the SaaS page of my website, right? Again, copying this, pasting it right here. So I'm giving as much information around my website as possible, right? For consulting, let's say, again, right? Pasting every single page of my website and some case studies, right? Right here, I'm going to be copying this and pasting it right here. So we have all of these different URLs of my website, which now we can train the knowledge base upon. As you can see here, indicated by this number next to the links, we have 5 links. And what we're going to be doing right now is that we're going to be clicking on train knowledge base. And just like that, the knowledge base is slowly and steadily being trained around all of the links that we have given it. It needs a minute, right, or 2, but it says training your bot to be smarter, or hang tight, we're preparing your data. And now the training is complete. So now, again, regarding the LLMs course creation knowledge, the database has been trained into all of the different pages of my website. So this is how you can give more context by adding URLs or PDFs to your knowledge base, which can be applied directly to the custom voice agents or the already pre-built AI, again, voice agent assistants that already are inside of Voice Genie, right? So now that you know how to give out more context and more information to these agents to deliver their jobs perfectly, I think that it's time for us to actually create our first campaign, right? So that's going to be happening in the next lesson of this course. So, ladies and gentlemen, up until this point, we have analyzed every single piece of the puzzle. We have broken down the framework of creating an AI voice agent and deploying it. And now it is time to actually connect all of the dots together and bring this puzzle to life. And that's exactly what we're doing in this lesson right here. In this final lesson, I'm going to show you all of the steps that you need to take in order to deploy these voice agents and actually create your inbound or outbound campaigns. I'm super excited that you have reached this point, and I can't wait to show you this whole process around. So again, a small recap. Up until this point, we have created our assistants, right? And this could be custom assistants. This could be the assistants that they're already inside of Voice Genie, right? We have created our knowledge base, and we have actually imported this knowledge base into our assistants. So our assistants have now context, right? We have added our operational hours, if you will, if we want to funnel these assistants to book calls with us, right? If you want to make these voice assistant urge clients to book calls with us. And of course, we have integrated cal.com, which is super important if we want, again, to book meetings through these assistants. On top of that, right, the next step is, of course, after analyzing that everything works with our assistants, which we have done so, all right, to close the build section. So now we're done with the build section. So how do we actually deploy these assistants? The first step, right, is for you to connect your phone through Twilio or Plivo, right? And again, these are just operational admin tasks we're doing right now. The hardest job was to build out the assistant, right? So right now, you need, if you want to launch a campaign, to connect your phone through Twilio and Plivo. And you can do this by following the step guide inside of Voice Genie, right? So once again, your phone is connected through Twilio, right, or Plivo. The next step is to import all of the contacts that your AI voice agents will be reaching out to if you're doing outbound campaigns. Because if you're doing inbound campaigns, it's a completely different thing. You're just waiting for calls, right, to come to your place. But for outbound campaigns, you definitely need to import your contact lists. And we do this by, in the deploy section, in the contacts. So in the contacts, as you can see, you can click on create contact list, and you can add a descriptive name. Let's say if the contact list, let's call it Lambs leads, right? And a list of prospects to call, right? A list of, let's say, cold prospects to call. We created the contact list right here. And if I click on the name, you can go ahead and actually upload the contacts. Now, as you can see, you can either import from GHL or from Hotspot, or you can directly, again, add contacts manually, right? So their phone number, their name, their last name, their email, right? So you can either manually add your contacts, or you can import them through, again, either GHL, right, Go High Level, or HubSpot. So once you have added all of your contacts here, and you have also, again, added your phone information, the phone that will be dialing these contacts through Twilio or Plivo, the next step is to start your campaign. You can either start an inbound campaign or an outbound campaign. So let's say you want to start an outbound campaign. You should click on create campaign. You get to name your campaign. You get to choose your voice assistant. You get to choose the phone number that will be used for this campaign right here, and the contact list that you want to be, again, contacting for the sake of this campaign, right? Now, you can also tweak different actions you have for different campaigns. For example, you can either choose to transfer people to talk to human beings, right? So to have an initial contact being done by these voice agents and then transfer them to human beings, or have a custom SMS being sent as the final deliberative, right, of this campaign. Or you want to funnel people to book meetings, right? So again, allow leads to easily schedule meetings via phone call, right? This feature gives them the flexibility to choose a convenient time, streamlining the booking process and enhancing engagement. And of course, you can also check out the post-call analysis. Do you want a call insight, right, with more questions? Do you have a webhook if you want to further analyze the calls? And of course, finally, you can add the extras. So for example, how many retry options you want your voice agents to do. Again, 5, let's say in this case. And that's pretty much it regarding your campaigns. You create the campaigns and you run the campaigns. And all the results of your campaigns, every single phone call that will be done through these campaigns will be monitored right here, right? Either in the outbound or the inbound, depending on the type of campaign that you choose. And that's pretty much it. This is how straightforward it is to use Voice Genie for your AI voice agents. It's, again, super straightforward to create the voice agents, to give them information, give them context with the knowledge base. And again, it's super easy to prompt them correctly to do the exact task that you're looking for, regardless of if it is inbound or outbound calls, right? So this concludes, again, the campaign deployment. So this again concludes the campaign deployment part of this course. I'm going to see you in the final message. So I would genuinely like to congratulate you for not only enrolling in this course and starting to consume the first lessons, but actually playing full out and consuming the whole course. Know that you belong in a very small percentage of people that, again, not only managed to enroll, but actually consumed the whole thing. And I'm super, super proud of you. I genuinely believe that AI agents can completely revolutionize the way that we communicate with each other. And again, will help you just unlock your full creative potential by outsourcing the robotic, repetitive work to, again, AI agents, which don't get bored and don't get tired, right? And if you enjoyed this AI course right here and you want to learn more about artificial intelligence and how, again, to just unlock your full creativity by outsourcing stuff to AI, I would be happy to have you in other courses that I have created in my profile here, right? So I'm super, super excited that you made it almost to the end of this course, and I'm going to see you in the next course that I create.